The History of the Damnable Life and Deserved Death of Dr. John Faustus. Read by Robert Crighton. Chapter 19. How Dr. Faustus fell into despair with himself, for having put forth a question unto his spirit. They fell at variance, whereat the rout of devils appeared unto him, threatening him sharply. Dr. Faustus, revolving with himself the speeches of his spirit, he became so woeful and sorrowful in his cogitations, that he thought himself already frying in the hottest flames of hell. And lying in his muse, suddenly there appeared unto him his spirit, demanding what things so grieved and troubled his conscience. Whereat Dr. Faustus gave no answer, yet the spirit very earnestly lay upon him to know the cause, and if it were possible, he would find remedy for his grief and ease him of his sorrows. To whom Faustus answered, I have taken thee unto me as a servant to do me service, and thy service will be very dear unto me. Yet I cannot have any diligence of thee further than thou list thyself, neither dost thou in anything as it becometh thee. The spirit replied, My Faustus, thou knowest that I was never against thy commandments as yet, but ready to serve and resolve thy questions, although I am not bound unto thee in such respects as concern the hurt of our kingdom, yet was I always willing to answer thee, and so am still. Therefore, my Faustus, say on boldly, what is thy will and pleasure? At which words the spirit stole away the heart of Faustus, who spake in this sort, Mephistopheles, tell me how and after what sort God made the world, and all the creatures in them, and why man was made after the image of God. The spirit, hearing this, answered, Faustus, thou knowest that all this is in vain for thee to ask. I know that thou art sorry for that thou hast done, but it availeth thee not, for I will tear thee in 1,000 pieces if thou change not thine opinions. And hereat he vanished away. Whereat Faustus, all sorrowful for that he had put forth such a question, fell to weeping and to howling bitterly, not for his sins towards God, but that the devil was departed from him so suddenly and in such a rage. And being in this perplexity, he was suddenly taken in such an extreme cold, as if he should have frozen in the place where he sat, in which the greatest devil in hell appeared unto him, with certain of his hideous and infernal company in most ugliest shapes, that it was impossible to think upon. And traversing the chamber round about where Faustus sat, Faustus thought to himself, Now are they come for me, though my time be not come, and that because I have asked such questions of my servant Mephistopheles. At whose cogitations the chiefest devil, which was the Lord unto whom he gave his soul, that was Lucifer, spake in this sort. Faustus, I have seen thy thoughts, which are not as thou hast vowed unto me by virtue of this letter, and showed him the obligation which he had written with his own blood. Wherefore I am come to visit thee, and to show thee some of our hellish pastimes, in hope that will draw and confirm thy mind a little more steadfast unto us. Content, quoth Faustus. Go to, let me see what pastime you can make. In which words the great devil in his likeness sat him down by Faustus, commanding the rest of the devils to appear in their form, as if they were in hell. First entered Belial, in form of a bear, with curled black hair to the ground, his ears standing upright, within the ear was as red as blood, out of which issued flames of fire. His teeth were at least a foot long, as white as snow, with a tail 3 ells long at the least, having 2 wings, one behind each arm, and thus one after another they appeared to Faustus, in form as they were in hell. Lucifer himself sat in manner of a man, all hairy, but of a brown colour like a squirrel, curled, and his tail turning upwards on his back as the squirrels use. I think he could crack nuts too, like a squirrel. After him came Beelzebub, in curled hair of a horse-flesh colour, his head like the head of a bull, with a mighty pair of horns, and 2 long ears down to the ground, and 2 wings on his back with pricking stings like thorns. Out of his wings issued flames of fire. His tail was like a cow's. Then came Astaroth, in form of a worm going upright on his tail, and had no feet, but a tail like a slow worm. Under his chaps grew 2 short hands, and his back was coal-black, his belly thick in the middle, yellow like gold, having many bristles on his back like a hedgehog. After him came Chamagosta, being white and grey mixed, exceeding curled and hairy. He had a head like the head of an ass, and a tail like a cat, and claws like an ox, lacking nothing of an ell broad. Then came Anubis. This devil had a head like a dog, white and black hair, in shape like a hog, saving that he had but 2 feet, one under his throat, the other at his tail. He was 4 ells long, with hanging ears like a bloodhound. After him came Dithykon. He was a short thief, in form of a pheasant, with shining feathers and 4 feet. His neck was green, his body red, and his feet black. The last was called Dracus, with 4 short feet, like a hedgehog, yellow and green. The upper side of his body was brown, and the belly like blue flames of fire. The tail red, like the tail of a monkey. The rest of the devils were in the form of unsensible beasts, as swine, harts, bears, wolves, apes, buffs, goats, antelopes, elephants, dragons, horses, asses, lions, cats, snakes, toads, and all manner of ugly, odious serpents and worms. Yet came in such sort that every one at his entry into the hall made their reverence unto Lucifer, and so took their places, standing in order as they came, until they had filled the whole hall, wherewith suddenly fell a most horrible thunderclap, that the house shook, as though it would have fallen to the ground, upon which every monster had a muck-fork in his hand, holding them towards Faustus, as though they would have run at tilt at him, which when Faustus perceived, he thought upon the words of Mephistopheles, when he told him how the souls in hell were tormented, being cast from devil to devil upon muck-forks. He thought verily to have been tormented there of them in like sort. But Lucifer, perceiving his thought, spake to him, My Faustus, how likest thou this crew of mine? Quoth Faustus, Why came not you in another manner of shape? Lucifer replied, We cannot change our hellish form. We have showed ourselves here as we are. Yet can we blind men's eyes in such sort that when we will repair unto them as if we were men or angels of light, although our dwelling be in darkness? Then said Faustus, I like not so many of you together. Whereupon Lucifer commanded them to depart, except 7 of the principal. Forthwith they presently vanished, which Faustus perceiving, he was somewhat better comforted, and spake to Lucifer, Where is my servant Mephistopheles? Let me see if he can do the like. Whereupon came a fierce dragon flying and spitting fire round about the house, and coming towards Lucifer, made reverence, and then changed himself to the form of a friar, saying, Faustus, what wilt thou? Faustus said, I will that thou teach me to transform myself in like sort as thou and the rest have done. Then Lucifer put forth his paw, and gave Faustus a book, saying, Hold, do what thou wilt. Which he, looking upon, straightways changed himself into a hog, then into a worm, then into a dragon, and finding this for his purpose, it liked him well. Quoth he to Lucifer, And how cometh it that so many filthy forms are in the world? Lucifer answered, They are ordained of God as plagues unto men. And so shalt thou be plagued, quoth he. Whereupon came scorpions, wasps, emmets, bees, and gnats, which fell to stinging and biting him, and all the whole house was filled with a most horrible stinking fog, insomuch that Faustus saw nothing, but still was tormented. Wherefore he cried for help, saying, Mephistopheles, my faithful servant, where art thou? Help, help, I pray thee. Hereat the spirit, answering nothing, but Lucifer himself said, Ho, 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 Faustus, how likest thou the creation of the world? And incontinent it was clear again, and the devils and all the filthy cattle were vanished. Only Faustus was left alone, seeing nothing, but hearing the sweetest music that ever he heard before, at which he was so ravished with delight that he forgot his fears he was in before, and it repented him that he had seen no more of their pastime. You've been listening to The History of the Damnable Life and Deserved Death of Dr. John Faustus, read by Robert Crighton. There is more from Faustus on our Patreon, where there are exclusive exploring sessions where we take a deep dive into the text, and early access to other chapters of the book. There's also extensive work available on the play adaptation by Christopher Marlowe and other hands. Links are available in the show description.